Dr. Schrag was my dad's oncologist when he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
I think both on the research side and the clinical treatment side, cancer affects the whole family, and often cancers are diseases that increase risk for other family members. I'm also the chief of population science here, so this is a particular focus of mine. But when we take care of a patient, we have a responsibility to their family members. And sometimes there are kinds of cancers that are caused by environmental exposures where the person worked, perhaps their habits. But sometimes they're caused by inherited risk factors. And sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we just have to figure that out. So we have a responsibility to stay in touch with families no matter what.
My father had 100% confidence in Dr. Schrag, and he died believing 100% that you're going to have something to do with curing pancreatic cancer. At the end of every one of our visits, he would always say, taking too much of your time, you're going to get out of here so you can get back to the lab and cure this thing. So I believe that too.
I would second that. I think one of the reasons we're doing this is because she's in the fight. She's looking for a cure. She's not just treating the patient who has the disease. She's actively engaged in looking for a cure.
A couple of things about Mr. Shea that are actually really interesting and important. And one was, he was an exercise fanatic. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. Would you guys say that's fair?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you said
He
that.
loved to exercise. It was really hard for Mr. Shea to accept that even though he had such a perfect lifestyle, he didn't have an ounce of fat on him. He exercised perfectly. He had perfect lifestyle, that he still got cancer, which just seems so darn unfair. My suspicion is that there's a gene that we haven't yet discovered that explains Mr. Shea's cancer, and that's yet another reason to stay in touch with the Shea family. One reason for that is that Mr. Shea also had a brother. I don't know if you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
He had a brother who also had pancreas cancer, and at a very similar age was diagnosed and also succumbed to the disease. So there's a clue there. We just have to get smart enough to figure that out. The obvious way to get that technology is to find families where there are multiple affected family members, like the Shea family, and to evaluate the genes of the cancer, normal genes, and genes of relatives. And that's a lot of work, and it requires building what we call biobanks, which are specimen banks that include analysis of the genetics of the cancers and blood. We can actually even do it from cheek swabs. We don't even necessarily need blood. And sequencing all those genes. It's resource intensive, but that's what we need to do. This is real people. This is not an abstract project. These are real people, real people's lives, people's parents, people's grandparents. They're human beings. That's motivation enough.